Good evening. Here is the world news from BGI TV, Baba Bagide Imo Television. I am yours faithfully, Mobire Regular Lawal. First are the major headlines for the world news. Insecurity. Match your words with action, Afenifere tells Buhari. 2023 presidency not an inheritance. Fayemi denies betraying Tinubu. Reps passed 4 bills to aid fight against terrorism, corruption. He was a soldier of truth. Jonathan eulogizes Yar'Adua 12 years after. ASU, Nigerian student ready to be shot to end strike, Asafon. 8 feared dead in Lagos gang fights. I spent 7 years in prison for no offense, freed inmates. Police arrest hit-and-run Lebanese driver in Lagos and to foreign. Russia-Ukraine war, Zelensky appeals for truce to dig out civilians trapped under Mariupol steel plant. Finally, sports. CAF Security Chief Emerua eyes NFF presidency. Now the news in detail. The Pan-Yoruba Social Political Organization Afenifere yesterday urged President Muhammadu Buhari to match his words with action regarding various indices of governance, particularly security. Afenifere, in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Yar'Adua, said that the information and assurance that emanated from President Buhari's message to Nigerians to mark this year's Eid al-Fitr celebration runs against the reality on the ground. The President, in his Ramadan message, had disclosed that the Anti-terrorism Act is very much in sight and that Nigerians have reasons to mark the Ramadan festival with hope as the battle waged against terrorists who falsely masquerade under the name of Islam is approaching its conclusion. But in its reaction, Afenifere said, rather than looking at the immediate future with hope, Nigerians are living and moving around in fear and despondence because of the insecurity they face at home, at work, and even more so when traveling on highways. How then can one be hopeful in that kind of situation? While agreeing with the President that the fight against terrorists in the country has been long and hard, the Yoruba body stated that the government has not succeeded in convincing most Nigerians that the final victory is within sight, as claimed by the President. A presidential aspirant of the All Progressive Congress (APC), Kayode Fayemi, on Wednesday denied betraying Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, saying the office of the president is not an inheritance. Fayemi, was also the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum (NGF), spoke in Abuja during an interview on Channels Television Politics Today. Tinubu, APC national leader, on January 10th, declared his intention to become Nigeria's president after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa. But the Ekiti State governor, who is seen by many as being a beneficiary of Tinubu, said the ambition of APC presidential aspirant is to make a difference in the lives of Nigerians. The office that we are seeking is to make a difference in the lives of Nigerians. It is about Nigeria, which is the commonwealth of all Nigerians, he added. Earlier, the governor explained that he believes his entry into the race will rebirth a new Nigeria. The House of Representatives has passed a bill for an act to prescribe ransom for kidnapped victims. The executive bills were speedily passed through the first, second, and third reading after lawmakers convened an emergency session on Wednesday. The first bill is to repeal the Terrorism Prevention Act 2011 and Terrorism Prevention Amendment Act 2013 and enact the Terrorism Prohibition and Prevention Bill 2022 to provide an effective, unified, and comprehensive legal, regulatory, and institutional framework for the detection, prevention, prohibition, prosecution, and punishment of acts of terrorism, terrorism financing, proliferation and financing of the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction in Nigeria. The second bill is for an act to repeal the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011 as amended and enact the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Bill 2022 to provide comprehensive legal and institutional framework for the prevention and prohibition of money laundering in Nigeria, establish the Special Control Units under the Economic and Financial Crime Commission (EFCC). It seeks to the Commission wide powers to inquire into complaints by members of the public concerning the administrative actions of any public authority and companies or their officials and provide a legal framework for making public interests. Former President Goodluck Jonathan on Thursday paid a tribute to his former boss, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. Yar'Adua was elected Nigeria's president in 2007 with Jonathan as vice president. The former succumbed to illness on May 5, 2010, allowing Jonathan to replace him as president. 12 years ago, our nation lost a patriot, a selfless leader, and a peacemaker who governed with sincerity and passion for the people, Jonathan said in a statement published via his verified Facebook page. President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua is no longer with us today, but his strides in public life continue to testify for him and keep his memory alive. He was a soldier of truth, committed to justice, equity, and other democratic virtues. He was a servant leader and a good man, the type that is hard to find. President Muhammadu Yar'Adua, we remember you today and we will continue to remember the good works that you did in our nation. Yours is a story of patriotism, a life well lived in service to the people and humanity. So another story rocking the nation. The president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, Sunday Asafon, on Thursday suggested that the union is prepared to hit the street to protest the strike embarked by the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Mr. Asafon made the comment while speaking to China television Sunrise Daily. According to Mr. Asafon, the government appears not to be interested in ending the strike as focus shifts to elections in 2023. He referenced the protest in Benin City embarked by some university students. We are about ready. The highest they can do is to shoot us. He said, if they shoot, they will ask their police to shoot us. If we die, the generation coming will know we died because of fighting for them. They would also know that they shot us because they are preparing for election, but we need to take action. If you are just joining, you are watching the world news from BGI TV. More to come. 8 persons were found dead on Sunday night in street gang fight at Agege, Lagos, the nation learned yesterday. The deceased persons were either shot, stabbed, or hacked by armed men alleged to be palace boys loyal to one mayor, as well as thugs from Chiaba, Peru, and Otubu areas. Although there had been clashes between the factions, it was gathered that Sunday night's violence started over a disagreement on sharing formula of cash gifted them by a popular musician. The force who grew up in Agege and the artist was said to have visited the area on Saturday to watch a match and afterward gave out 100,000 naira to the boys who led to the fights and violence. A 54-year-old man, Babatunde Abbas, has narrated how he languished in prison for 7 years for a crime he claimed he did not commit. Abbas spoke on Tuesday during the 3rd edition of the 2022 Prison and Official Ministry Conference of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, tagged Fresh Air for Freedom. The event was held at the Redemption Camp, Mowe, Ogun State. Abbas recalled that in 2015, he broke the side mirror of a car owned by a policeman who took him to police station where he was allegedly tortured to confess to a crime he did not commit. He said he was later charged to court and remanded in the Oba Custodial Center, Abeokuta, Ogun State. He said, I was tortured by SARS men who shot my leg about 5 times to force me to confess to armed robbery. I and another person were charged to court without a lawyer to defend us. The complainant never showed up, and the prosecuting counsel, Mrs. Aro Leba, brought in SARS men to testify as witness against us. A lady identified as Omotomi Akisoya has reportedly sustained injuries on her leg after she was hit by a hit-and-run Lebanese who allegedly drove against traffic in the Victoria Island area of Lagos. The incident, which was confirmed on a Twitter handle of SP Benjamin Uday, spokesperson, Lagos State Police Command, reportedly occurred on Wednesday at about 7:45 hours. The middle-aged Lebanese named John Greg male, as gathered, allegedly drove a Toyota 4Runner recklessly and against traffic on Sinusi Fafunwa Road, thereby hitting one Omotomi, which resulted in serious injuries on her leg. He was said to have sped off on noticing the act but was chased and apprehended by sympathizers. The suspect was later handed over to the police. The police spokesperson said in his tweet, suspect in our custody, vehicle impounded and in our station. Victim undergoing treatment at Lasset. The victim family was duly informed. Embassy of Lebanon duly informed, investigation ongoing. Still on the world news, Now, the foreign story. Civilians would need to be dug from bunkers under a steel works that is the last outlaw of resistance in Ukraine's Mariupol, President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Thursday, after a Russian bombardment that was littered the area with concrete debris, having failed to capture the capital Kyiv in the early weeks of an invasion that has killed thousands and flattened towns and villages. Russia has accelerated attacks in southern and eastern Ukraine, including on the Azovstal steel works in Mariupol. Ukraine's resistance at the plant underscores Russia's failure to capture major cities in a war that was united Western powers in aiming Kyiv and punishing Moscow with sanctions. Sweden and Finland are expected to decide very soon whether to join NATO in what would be a major historical shift. Ukraine officials believe around 200 civilians remain trapped, along with fighters in the network of underground bunkers at the sprawling Soviet-era Azovstal complex. And finally, sports story. Dr. Christian Emerua, head of Safety and Security, Confederation of African Football, has officially declared his intention to contest for the presidency of the Nigeria Football Federation, the Punch report. Emerua stated this on a WhatsApp group, Family United by Sport, on Wednesday. The current president of the Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, announced in April it would not be running for a third term. Pinnick became the fourth NFF boss to serve 2 terms in office after being re-elected in 2018, and with another election just around the corner. The FIFA Council member stated that family pressure led to his decision to step down. Emerua said after several consultations with stakeholders, he decided to run for the position. He wrote on the FUBS, "Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you," by showing his interest to run for the NFF presidency. That was the world news from BGI TV, but before we go, a quick recap of the headlines once again. Concerning insecurity, match your words with action, Afenifere tells Buhari. Presidency not an inheritance, Fayemi denies betraying Tinubu. Reps passed 4 bills to aid fight against terrorism corruption. We also brought to you, he was a soldier of truth. Jonathan eulogizes Yar'Adua 12 years after. ASU, Nigerian student ready to be shot to end strike as a form. 8 feared dead in Lagos gang fights. I spent 7 years in prison for no offense. Freed inmates. Police arrest hit-and-run Lebanese driver in Lagos. And to foreign, Russia-Ukraine war. Zelensky appeals for truce to dig out civilians trapped on the Mariupol steel plant. And sport. CAF Security Chief Emerua eyes NFA presidency. For more updates on YouTube, the handle is Baba Bagede Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell to select option all. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawi Adebayo. Please like and follow the page to enjoy all of our broadcasts. On Instagram, the handle is Bagede Imo _22 for advertisement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, both outdoors. The phone number streaming on your screen is a direct line to call, strictly for advertisements. I am yours faithfully, Morire Revila Lawal. Good evening.
Oh, na na na. If you want to know what's going on in city, or you want to listen to the latest news and gist, no stress, oh, just tune to BGI TV. BGI TV, you're one in a million.